China's cartographic aggression, that is something that India needs to look at. And India has been giving it back in the same flavor to China every now and then. But again, there are areas, Indian territory, that has been marked as Chinese territory on their own map.
See,
what's that particular news about?
Well, this news is there in the Hindu, and that what worries me is also that.
And this is this is after at the BRICS summit when Prime Minister Modi
and
Xi
Xi
Jinping
is said to have had a meeting. Well, of course, both
on the
of them have been
sidelines.
on
They
the
even spoke
sidelines.
about the border, the border tussle as well.
Yes, and here the Chinese government on Monday, now this I'm reading from the Hindu, the Chinese government on Monday released the 2023 edition of the Standard Map of India, which, Standard Map of China, which continues to show the entire state of Arunachal Pradesh and Aksai Chin region within China's borders. Now, the 2023 map was released by the Ministry of National Resources. The territorial claims on China's western borders, as also the so-called 9-dash line covering the entire South China Sea, are shown on the map as in previous editions. Also, as in previous maps, a 10th dash is placed east of Taiwan, underlining Beijing's claim over that island. The latest map follows Beijing's announcement in April that it would standardize the names of 11 places in Arunachal Pradesh, including a town close to Arunachal Pradesh's capital, Itanagar. This was the third such list of renaming places in Arunachal Pradesh and has been observers as response to India holding events in the lead up to the G-20 summit in the state.
So wait, Varghese, how does it happen? So tomorrow India can release their own official new map and reclaim those places on Indian standard map.
See, this is how, if you look at how China has been, as I was telling you, China believes in creating...
Entire state of Arunachal Pradesh. Varghese.
You know, they call it South Tibet. The entire state of Arunachal Pradesh, they call it South Tibet. They've been laying claim on it. I was telling you about their, their palm and their 5 fists. They have Tibet as the palm, from which they have the 5 fingers that they want to have. That is Bhutan, Nepal, Ladakh, Bhutan, Nepal, Ladakh, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim. So this territory is in the Chinese mind to be part of its state, and they have been trying to push for it for a long time.
Right.
And these cartographic aggressions that you see, Kabir, is part of that effort to, psychologically put it across that this is disputed. So what you need to tell the Chinese, and just imagine on the sidelines of BRICS, where both the leaders were there, this shows that China is not ready for negotiations. It is only going to be playing the adamant game of saying that it's way or the highway. We have to be careful. That is what I'm trying to say.
How do you think India is now going to respond? Because this is the Aksai Chin region and this is the entire state of Arunachal Pradesh. I'm thinking, just for jokes as well, how about we release our own map?
See,
we release our own map and maybe even claim, Beijing on that.
Jokes apart, one thing is there, Kabir. China is going to be unrelenting. And China has territorial designs on our country. We must accept that fact that China is our principal rival in Asia. Gone are the days when you thought Pakistan was. Pakistan is just now a country with nuisance value.
If it is a country.
It's a country with the nuisance value, nothing else. But China is your primary enemy because China sees you as a rival. China knows that your economy is also growing. China got a head start way in the 1970s with Nixon giving it, that kind of thaw that happened that time. And they went into the manufacturing and they started building their industry. So they got a head start. But now China's population is declining, is facing a geriatric population issue. India's population is rising. It's having younger people enter the workforce. And this rivalry, which is going to be economical, territorial.
No, but this is happening right ahead of G20.
That's the shocking part of it. The messaging exactly is that I'm going to come to your place on a stronger wicket. I'm going to act snobbish.
Right.
Nothing else. I'm going to act snobbish. I'm coming to you to speak from a position of strength. Now, for India, India has been always open about it, that our territory is defined like this in Ladakh.
This is the third time it's happening. Last time it happened, they tried to rename 11 places. A new standardized map of China that doesn't really help. We've got our own Jawans. fighting in the upper trenches of
I think,
Arunachal Pradesh,
see, as of now,
safeguarding the borders.
as of now,
what are they doing it for?
see, I think they understand negotiations only from a point of strength. So I think, patrolling is something that China has been trying to deny India, especially of its legitimate areas on the map. And the McMahon line, they think is a colonial hangover. I don't think this is a colonial hangover. In that case, a lot of hangovers are there. Inner Mongolia that you claim is actually part of Mongolia. It's part of your colonial hangover. So a lot of such maps that the Chinese have been trying to draw, trying to have the Chinese history interspersed with Mongolian history and trying to create your so-called nation of sorts. But all said that doesn't mean that you nibble at the territory of other countries and try to make claim to it. Interestingly enough, they put a 10th dash. You remember the 9 dash lines, complete claim on South China Sea, and now they put the 10th dash to say that Taiwan is part of our grouping. Well, that's your dispute. I have no issues about. But when it comes to our borders, Arunachal, Sikkim, Ladakh are integral part of this country. You are the aggressor. You're sitting on our territory. We are not going for a war, or we are not going for a battle right now. I think China shouldn't push India to that level.
Absolutely. They're saying that this map was released as part of their National Mapping Awareness Publicity Week in China, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing our little own bid itself.
Well, this is to also to ensure, Kabir,
that is not the truth.
that is not the truth. Exactly, you must know that.
Is very much
Integral part of India.
Integral part of the Union of India. So is the Aksai Chin, and how we're looking towards the Aksai Chin. It can't be a simple mapping awareness, drive is going to change this.
It's also the fact that we must tell the Indian public that you have to be
how easily are they
aware of
fooling
it.
their own people is also, something that has to be looked at, because people are oblivious as to what's actually happening in Arunachal Pradesh. Somebody in Beijing, sitting in Beijing, thinks that, well, yes, Arunachal Pradesh is in fact part of China, when it's actually not the truth.
It's also about to create a claim. It is to create a claim and to irritate
that too
us.
ahead of G-20 summit. We'll have to see how India responds to this now, how our Dr. S. Jaishankar and team now actually respond to this is also going to be something that is going to be very closely looked. And these days, people are so in love with India's foreign policy, with what Prime Minister Modi does outside, and S. Jaishankar, how he conducts, and the entire team of Vinay Quatra and his team. It's going to be interesting to see. Now it's almost like a test match with China.
One more thing is that if militarization of alliances happen in Asia, it's because of China. China is driving everyone from Japan to South Korea to Taiwan to the nations around the South China Sea. They are all, because you're bullying everyone, everyone is going to come together.
Take a look at the Quad as well.
The Quad is
the AUKUS and the South China Sea and also the Indo-Pacific. That is something that is of a great significance to India as well. So, military alliances, coalitions, if they really do work out in favor of India to keep China shut, to tackle the dragon effectively.
I'm just saying that.
Well, then, so be it.
China is going to force that militarization on us unnecessarily.
All right.